I think everybody felt the disappointment on Saturday afternoon, didn't they, Jack? Not just yourselves and the players, the fans, us in the media were it felt a little bit like a defeat. But as you know, as the time's gone on, has it been easier to sort of look at the positives from Saturday's game?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the emotions are a lot higher during the time, and we as players feel it as much as the fans. We were just as frustrated, and it hurt a lot conceding in that fashion so late on. So that was very disappointing. And like you said, it did feel like a defeat at the time, but it's not. It's another point on the board. And now we've dressed down the game and looked at the ins and outs of it and what we did well and could have done better. It's another good performance at the end of the day. So we obviously are disappointed not to win the game, as we felt we'd done more than enough to do that. But at the end of the day, we can't affect that anymore. So the manager was clear straight away after the game Saturday that we couldn't let there be any sort of hangover after that, and it's on to tomorrow night now.
Does it say a lot about the way the team's developed over the course of this run that you are disappointed with the point?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, obviously we felt we'd done more than enough to win the game, like I just said. But at the same time, like you just said, we at times this season would have been happy with a point, and it does show that we are making progress. Although it is late on in the season now, that we are disappointed with a point, because ultimately wins are massive at this stage of the season. So we're going to do all we can to get as many of those as we can between now and the end.
It's almost like you're reading my list of questions. I was just about to ask you whether or not it's about now turning these draws. It's 4 in a row, but turning these draws into victories and finally getting over that line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously 3 points is a lot more than 1 point at this stage of the season. So the draws aren't terrible. It's important if you can't win games that you don't lose. It's good in that aspect. And we've seen in the last couple of weeks, obviously Derby was a point and Cheltenham was a point, both very different games. So it all sort of evens itself out in football. It tends to do so. But no, we'll definitely be looking to get a couple of wins rather than draws, as that should get us over the line.
With this run, you mentioned it comes towards the end of the season. You want to use this, don't you, to use it as momentum to go into next season?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the main thing is to stay up in this division, as we feel like we're more than good enough to do that. Obviously, it's been a tough year for all of us, players and fans. So that's not gone the way we wanted it to go. But ultimately, if we can make sure that we stay in this division by the end of the season and make sure that we've not technically lost anything, that should give us a good platform to build on with a bit of confidence going into next year, knowing that we've got that bad run out of the way, and hopefully we can kick on and do better things next season.
No, obviously you missed that game at Derby. We heard it was a back injury. How's everything going for you?
Yeah, unfortunately, just training on the Sunday, the day before, just had a little spasm. Alien to me it was. I never had anything like that. So it was a bit of a shock, to be fair. But it's getting there now. It's got through the game all right after Cheltenham, and I'm feeling good, so ready to go again tomorrow.
Well, that's good to hear. And Charlton coming to the Stadium MK tomorrow. It's on paper it looks a tough afternoon. They always are at League One level, but them coming here with a 6-0 defeat in their back pocket, that's you're going to be wary of that backlash.
Yeah, I think having been in that situation before this season as well ourselves on the back of a heavy defeat, it's sort of you start that little bit quicker because you've got a point to prove. So we've got to be wary of that. The fact that they're probably going to come out fast and try to put it on us a little bit, make it difficult for us, because ultimately they don't want to go for that feeling like they had on Saturday. So we've got to do everything we can to make sure it's another long afternoon for them, long evening, and hopefully we'll get the 3 points.
And of course, it felt like a long evening for them down at the Valley for that 2-0 win earlier this season.
Yeah, great win that was. Yeah, good 2-0 win, clean sheet, a couple of goals away from home. So yeah, we'll definitely look to do the same again tomorrow.